All right, here with this 250 XC-F motor. We took it out yesterday because we need to get this clutch cover off. Look down in here. I mean, there's a ton of metal. We knew that because the cam is bad. We're gonna tear the top end apart, lock it at top dead center by the crank. So we're gonna need a 14 to turn the motor over. This motor you do rotate counterclockwise. And what I watch for is your exhaust valve here to open the valve and close. And now your intake valve is opening and closing. Now we're getting pretty close to where top dead center is going to be. I know that these valves, these cams should kind of point at each other. So we're getting close. Come around to this side, and you'll watch for these marks here to be flat and flush with the cam cap. Okay, so we're there, we're flat and flush. And then down here, there is a bolt we need to remove. This one. Now in the case right here, it is stamped TDC for top dead center. It's gonna be on your compression stroke. Once you remove this bolt, you go ahead and look in there, and you'll see a groove on the, and it's actually on the crank. And you'll want to align that groove so that you can't see in there. I'm sure you can't see in there. There's a groove. You're going to align the groove so that this tapered part of the holding tool presses in on it. So it's lined up for me. Put our tool in. The orange paint is where I know I'm getting close to where the crank is going to be. And you don't need a ton of pressure on this. Of course, you're just locking the crank from moving, so you don't want to put too much pressure on it, but okay, that's probably good right there. And then I'll give it a double check on the other side to make sure we're locked in. As you can see, we're not moving at all. So now we're locked at top dead center compression. Next thing we got to do is take the cam chain tensioner out. So you're going to get your 5 Allen. I always like to take those off first just because you don't want to fight to try and get that off before reinstallation. And then you're going to need, I believe it's a 24. Take your cam chain tensioner out. Yeah, see that gooey, nasty liquid? Yeah. There's an O-ring that goes along with this. Pull that O-ring out. All right. Now we're going to take out this spark plug tube. There are 2 O-rings down in there. And now we can just take our cam cap off. Something I see with this, that bearing surface is no good anymore, fortunately. take out our cams. This was that cam that has all the melted plastic in it. So an intake cam. Our exhaust cam. Yeah, that's not good. That's where the cam rides inside of this journal here, and the oil comes up and then pushes through here and then lubricates this bearing. So we knew the cam was bad. We know that the journal was bad. Same with the cam cap and this head right here. This journal is toast. So it looks like we'll need a new head. You can also see here this follower. Let's see if I can get a good angle on that. This follower has been worn down by the cam. You can see it's kind of bulged the back here and it's really flat. That'll happen when the oil's not being injected onto it. I'm not really concerned at where these are going to be, because to get this bike running again, it's going to need a new head. The next step is going to be removing the head. There's an 8mm here, and then there's 4 13s. Start with the 8mm. And then we'll do our 13s. These are going to be tight. A little wrestling, we're good. One thing you're going to want to pay attention to is getting this cam chain up. Just kind of frees up the followers in there so you can pull this head off a little easier. Just going to have to take the cylinder out with the head. Be careful. Don't damage the piston. Alright. What I'm more concerned about is the crank bearings. Oh, I can already tell you right now the crank bearings are fried. We'll go back over here, and I'm going to take the bolts out for these cam guides, and then we can take the cam chain off. All right, we got that out of there. What you want to do is you drop the chain down in there and get it to loop over itself. Then you're gonna have to spin this, because when you align this, it needs to go there. There's 2 dots, and that dot goes in the center. But as you pull it out, you can't pull it out from there because it's got a balancer shaft on it, or balancer. So you need to twist it around, bring it out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the stator side. We're going to take the stator apart. Just you don't use. I like to leave the shifter on. And you're fighting the magnet as you're coming off of there. Yeah, it's pretty gross. Take our gear position sensor out. Now let's take our oil pump apart. Need a stator. Use a little dowel pin there. Okay, there's an oil pump number 1. All right, so I flipped it over. Take our oil pump gear off. Little circlip. You can see the little dowel pin right there. Now this is what I wanted to look at, was the other side of the oil pump. It's thicker on this side, thinner on this side, so you have to drop it out the bottom. Or drop it out the stator side. All right, so the crank is bad in this motor, and we're going to just quickly reassemble it. Customer does not want to put the money involved into rebuilding this whole thing into it. I made a parts list. It was pretty close to $3,000, and that's not including, you know, obviously any of the labor to put it back together. And so we're not gonna split cases. We're not gonna go any deeper, unfortunately. I want to take this all apart, but we're cool. I'm gonna use a impact for most of this. Just go quick. I'm not gonna put the piston back in. So this is one of the gears that we took off right here. I got the gasket right here. Cover on. All these bolts are exactly the same length, so you can also double check that by slipping them in there. They should all have about the same amount of thread sticking out. I do like to try and start all these by hand. This shaft can only come in from one side, which is the other side. So I'm gonna flip it over. Put it in. I'm gonna hold it with my finger as I flip it back over, so I can grab it. Then you can pull it up and just kind of let it rest. Next, what you're gonna do is take your little dowel pin and your oil pump gears. Here's the outer one, here's the inner one, and you want the little dot to face towards you. Slip that bad boy in there. You're going to take your little dowel pin. I like to get a little pair of grips like these. Put your oil pump gear on first. Very good. Okay, got this cover on. You're gonna go ahead and slip this through here, just like that. Put this gear on. Your washer. Your circlip. Be really careful with these circlips, they'll fly off. If you've taken this out, make sure you put it back in before you go any further. It'll be in there. Take these. This one goes to your clutch. I think I'm going to leave the clutch out of this bike. I'll leave that off. And then this is our left-handed nut. You kind of put it in there like that. We'll put our cam chain guides in. When you go in with this one, you want the tall part here to face you. I'm going to put the rest of the other side of the oil pump together, so this side is done. Now on this one, you want the dots to face away from you.